Many times we don't think before we speak. We start a story, it's funny, it's interesting, and we start telling a story, and all of a sudden we don't realize that there's a lot of Lashon Hara here. A person would stop and think from beforehand, maybe he would, and he's sensitive, he knows some the halachas, we'll get to the halachas, Be'ez Hashem, a little bit later, then he'll be much more careful. When you have, a couple of children that they're playing with something and they got into a fight, why did this one take away the toy from that one? Why did this one do it? You ask them, why did you do that? Many times there's no answer. What were you thinking? Many times the answer is, I wasn't thinking. So when a person starts to speak something and he starts to speak Lashon Hara, he asks, why did you say that? What were you thinking? A lot of times the answer is, I wasn't thinking. I wasn't thinking about what I was saying. It just sounded like a great story, and because of that I said it. What we need to do is we need to start to think before we speak. And that's a hard thing. If a person has a knee-jerk reaction just to do something, so then he's just going to do it. Stopping to think before we say something, is what I'm doing going to be something that's mutter or asr, is a hard thing if a person is not used to it. A person who gets used to thinking before acting is much easier also for him to think before he speaks. It's much easier to do things that you're rogil in, that you just get used to in doing it. If a person gets rogil in Tmiras HaLashon, then this becomes a natural thing. But until a person is rogil, what he needs to do is become more of a thinker. And by becoming more of a thinker, what that means is that he really thinks before he says anything. If a person goes to stand in front of the president, a king, he's going to think before he says something. He only has this audience. That's what a person needs to do. It is not a simple thing. It is very difficult. But Baruch Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us, Klal Yisrael, a much greater mind than he gives to the rest of the world. And we have the ability to do this. Be'ez Hashem, a person really puts in effort, he'll start to see success. Thank you for listening. To hear more shurim like this one, go to jfoundations.com. If you'd like to support us or sponsor an episode, go to jfoundations.com/support.